Hello, I am the Miami Autism Dad, Victor Antunes, the inclusive Miami Realtor, and this is the Autism Podcast at Miami's Community Newspapers. Today I'm with Jessica and Robert Del Castillo from Assisted Employment Services. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for
So glad you're here. Yes.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So I have a short intro I want to read so people will know what you guys are all about. Yeah? Okay. So today we're talking about employment with Assisted Employment Services, Inc. They work with individuals with disabilities who want what every adult deserves: the chance to contribute, grow, and be valued. Their work is built on a simple truth: ability exists, opportunity is what's missing. In this conversation, we explore the system that fails too many, the process that actually works, and the power of believing in someone before the world does. We'll talk about employment, transportation, misconceptions, what real support looks like, and why one job can transform an entire family. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you're welcome. So Jessica, tell me a little about yourself and about what you guys do.
Well, I met Robert many years back, and he's been doing this for many years. And he kind of introduced me into this world of helping people with disabilities. Not only helping them, but one of the important things, which is helping them find employment. About myself, I manage the company. I help them with that. I also help them support our individuals and help them find employment. That's pretty much it.
That's great. Robert?
So I started working, I worked at UPS for a few years as a driver. And one day I walked into a company called Sunrise. I'm sure everyone knows Sunrise.
Yeah.
And I saw what they were doing and I liked it. I was young. I had finished, high school. And what I saw, what they did with Sunrise, I was there every day just delivering packages. And I'm like, this is cool. I like this. So when I ended my tenure with UPS, I started working at Sunrise as a TI, training instructor. And, I was working at their workshops, just making sure that they were okay and that they weren't hurting themselves, fighting, these individuals, making sure that their daily day was going well. And then I started receiving certifications and, doing different things with Sunrise. From there, I started becoming an employment specialist. I noticed that a lot of these individuals were just going to these day centers and not working. So one of the companies that I work for, ADE, they started an employment program, and I was their first employment specialist. And that was it. I fell in love with my job. I woke up every day knowing that I was making a difference in the community. Of course, no one's perfect, but I loved what I was doing, finding them a purpose, finding them a job. Once they start working, these individuals with disabilities, the reaction in their face is timeless. It's just something beyond your heart, right? When I started working, I noticed that this is something that I like to do more of. And working for a company, you can only do so much because the company controls the narrative, right? So I started Assisted Employment Services in 2008. We are still a small agency. However, back in 2008, we were really small. Yeah. It was me trying to figure things out, how to get clients, how to become stabilized in the community. So we reached out to the Ticket to Work program, VR, which was a beacon at this, and that's how we started. And then I met Jessica, and I said, look, I'm doing this. This is what I do. I don't know if you want to work. Jessica was working at a dentist office. She was doing well. She was happy. She graduated from college, but I noticed that she's a great person. She has a good heart. And I said, you know what? You would fit good with this agency. Why don't we build this together? And I said, but your talent and my eagerness, we can build a small agency. Now, mind you, we're not best buddies. We're not Easter seals, but that's what we want to get to, because the more people we can help, the better it is. And she did it. And we've been together as a couple and as business partners ever since.
That's amazing. Do you have special needs kids?
We do not. No.
This is awesome because a lot of parents get into this world. Like myself, I didn't choose it.
We have friends and family and his grandson.
But Yes, sons and daughters, no, but my grandson has a special need. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think it's
Autism.
amazing
Yeah.
that you got into this world, even though you don't have like a direct connection,
Right.
because it's really important work, especially employment for the adults,
Mhm.
because that is, this population isn't getting smaller; it's getting bigger.
Bigger.
And I don't think
Yeah.
you realize that this is like an economic ticking time bomb
Yeah.
that's coming down the pike. Because once the kids, they turn 21 or 22,
They're on.
they're
their
out of
own.
the system.
They're out of the system. They're on their own, and
and then what
that's
happens?
that's one of the barriers that we get when they come to us ready for work. It's like they come with, what do I do?
What do I do?
So we have to be the ones to kind of say, okay, what do you know? What have you done as a teenager?
Mhm.
And then we start the intake, the assessment, and that's how we get to know the person and get them to the right job. That's very important.
I had Camila Rocha. She's the president and CEO of Easter Seals
Yeah.
on, and I asked her how many, this population, how many of the adults are unemployed? She says about 95%.
Yeah.
She's
But
right.
there's unemployed and employable. There's unemployed and unemployable.
Exactly.
And I asked her how many of these kids are unemployed but employable, and she said like 95%. Would you concur with that number?
Absolutely.
Totally.
Absolutely. Totally.
So where's the disconnect?
The system sometimes sometimes these employers, they don't want to take a chance. They don't want to go that extra and it's unfortunate.
Mhm.
That's why we need job coaches. I'm not saying like myself, but like myself, to kind of get them over. Me and Jessica, one thing we do is we lobby for them and we let them know what they can do as opposed to what they cannot do.
Mhm.
And then sometimes these employers, they think it's more of a liability. And it's just a message, right? So we're here to let them know this is an individual that's 24 years old, as an example, has never had a job, but you would be the first person that can change this person's life. And they're probably going to do better than a regular employer. They don't understand what I mean by that until they hire them.
Mhm.
Once they hire them and they see that they're there 5 minutes before their shift and they leave 3 minutes after, and that they're never late, and they're always do their job and they're ready for more, and they go above and beyond. They're like, why haven't I hired someone this before?
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of breaking that barrier of the beginning. And that's where we come in as job coaches to kind of do it. And it hasn't been easy, but like you said, the community starts to come around and, starts to open up to people with disabilities and allow these individuals a regular life like you and I have.
Yeah. I had on Dr. Michael Alessandri. He's the executive director of UM-CARD.
Okay.
And he said that, they do studies, multi-year, very expensive studies. And one was, how good are these people, this population, for the bottom line? They're actually really good.
Yes.
And one of the reasons is that they follow all the rules to a T.
To a T.
To the T.
And they're super grateful.
To a T.
Because, a regular employee at 24, you have a bad attitude.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Chip on your shoulder.
You have a chip on your shoulder. The world owes you everything.
Yeah.
But if you're going for your first job ever in your life, they end up being really good employees.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about some of the services that you offer. The first one I have here is work-based learning experience. Tell me about that.
These are individuals that are usually in high school. They're like a junior or senior in their high school, respectfully. And they're ready to get out of high school. They don't want to go to college. They want to work. So what we do is we start getting them in a younger age, and we start training them. And we tell them what's to expect when they become adults. A lot of them are young, 15, 16, 17 years old. So we give them work-based learning experience. It's kind of like an OJT, which I'm assuming we're going to talk about, but it's a little bit less stressful as far as hours. It's more flexible.
More flexible.
Yeah, so they're allowed to kind of work 1 to 2 days a week after school, because remember, these are individuals that are in school. So
Yes,
they come
of
out of school 3:34. They can work till about 7, 8 o'clock, nothing too late, so they can continue their school activities, do their homework, do whatever they have to do, because they're still participating in school. At the same time, the employer gives them a little bit of latitude, gives them a little bit more flexibility, doesn't give them that much of a stressful schedule. And it's paid. We pay them. We usually pay them ourselves so they can start understanding money, how to get paid. While I work,
Getting money for what they're doing.
exactly. I'm working 12 hours a week. I'm getting money. Now it goes into their account. We help them create an account with the bank, with the credit union where they're local, or we pay them however they like. And that starts the development of working. So once they're done with high school and like the work,
Mhm.
they can come back, and then we can begin the OJT program.
With that WBLE, it allows them to get a little bit of experience. So once
Yeah.
they're done with high school, they do a WBLE, and then we could go into an OJT, which is kind of like more closer to having a job,
Mhm.
and then that gives them more experience. So they're not like completely starting to work without having no experience or not knowing how to do anything.
Mhm.
Basically, this is to help them gain experience.
Now, I see a lot of these young people going into hospitality.
Hmm.
Is that because we're pushing them to hospitality? That's all they can do,
No,
or are there other things they can do?
There's other things that they can do, but they like it because they a lot of these individuals have good personalities. They have chippery personality, customer service.
Mhm.
They like that. They see that a lot on TV, right? Hotels, bellman, concierge, and they like that hospitality.
Okay.
We have some individuals that work in resorts,
Mhm.
and they're the first face that you see when you go to a resort.
Mhm.
Some of them are bellmen. When they're coming, how you doing? Good afternoon. They get your luggage, and that's the first individual that you see before you enter the hotel, and you talk to the front desk, and they like that. It's not such a physical job. It's not that demanding. They just have to be professional as far as customer service, smile, be very nice to them, courteous, and that's why they like that type of. But we do also have individuals, mechanics, drivers, construction, but hospitality is a very bulk of our industry as far as employment, because they like the job, they like working with people.
That's
so
right. Okay.
It's pretty cool.
Now, I was speaking to the administration at WOW, and they can get a lot of OJT for these kids or internships.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
But they just can't. But they can't turn that into actual full-time or part-time long-term employment.
correct.
Hmm.
Why is that?
You want to
Go ahead.
So a lot of employers, they don't want the liability.
But why liability?
Liability is if they hire a person with disability and that person for some reason doesn't perform well or gets hurt or has an episode. This is the education that some of these employers have that they don't want. They think that they cannot handle the position of an 8-hour or 6-hour shift. So they'll do an OJT, but they don't want to hire them after. And it's my job to kind of say, look, the OJT is good, thank you, but we kind of want them to work here. This is inclusion. They need the job. They need to provide for their families. This is adult.
That's our daily struggle.
That's the daily struggle that we have. They'll do the OJT because they know that we're here, but they know that eventually we're going to fade away, because what we do at Assisted is we implore independency. We want to make sure this individual is independent, because they don't need us all the time. They just need us at the beginning and to eventually fade away. The employer then knows this, because we have to be transparent. So the employer knows that after the OJT, they have to employ them. And I'm not saying that every employer is like this, but a majority of them will say we don't want to hire them for that reason. And that's what they tell us. That's the reason that they give us. We don't really know the exact reason. We can't put our finger on it, but we think it's because they're scared that if this individual now has to be hired by the company, they have to follow every rule that the company displays. They have to do the training properly, and they have to be here. And for some reason or another, we can't get them over the hump that they are going to be here. But they also know that we're not going to be there as a job coach, because eventually we fade away. And now it's the company and the participant. Now they got to deal with the participant at a whole, directly. And some of them will get scared for whatever reason they have, which they've told us it's because they might get hurt. They might have an episode. Some of them take medication. They just don't want. They see what's going on they see what TV shows them or whatever, and they just get scared. So we think that we got to get over that hump.
Now, with the liability issue and the insurance companies, is that something that could be legislated?
Sure. That would be great if we can get an employer.
What would it look like, that legislation?
That if the employer is covered, it would be covered under some type of Disabilities Act, right? If the employer takes a chance on hiring a participant after the OJT, correct? They keep them, and that employer that participant does well. But now they're getting into a year to a year and a half, and they see a decline in that participant, which happens. That the employer is protected somehow, some way. It could be from anything, from a participant staying away from work, getting sick. We have participants that happens. They're working, they get sick. They end up in the hospital for whatever reason. Now that position has to be vacant because they're not there. So what does the employer do? The employer has to get from other employees to take care of that position. So if there's a liability there that can be protected and that employer cannot lose money, that would be great, because that assures that no matter what happens to a participant with disabilities, that position will be covered somehow, some way, whether it's physically or financially. And that's what I think that is the stigma of why employers are scared of hiring these individuals.
Now, is that legislation something that's been talked about?
Not that I know of.
Yeah, me either.
I never heard of that, Victor,
No.
but that would be good to, bring to light about that, because that has been something that has been over our agency forever, about employers hiring participants for the long term. Not saying that all of them, I don't want to say that all of them, but a lot of them, after the OJT training is over, sayonara. And that's the problem we have, because now I'm like, wait a minute, he was here for 6 months.
Yeah.
He was doing good. Now you don't want to hire him? Oh, no, we don't have but you did for 6 months.
Yeah.
For 6 months, he had a position. And she sometimes tells me, Robert, back off, back off.
No,
because
we thank those employers that do give us the opportunity to do the OJT, because another of the issues that we have is finding employers that actually give us the opportunity to do a WBLE or do an OJT for the same reasons of liability reasons.
Exactly.
And also because they think that they're gonna have the employee and someone else constantly there, and which is
Exactly.
something that we're there at the beginning, but we try to, like Robert was mentioning, have them be independent, because this is what the goal is. When we're not there 24/7 with the participant while they're working, because then the company or the employer has to worry about two individuals there, the employer and somebody else.
It's a lot. They
And
said
that
to me.
becomes liability.
They're like,
liability
are you
issue
going to
as
be
well.
here
Right.
forever? I'm like, no, I'm just going to be here for an hour just to make sure.
It's a misconception
It's
that
a
a lot of
misconception.
employers have, because there's other programs and companies, I guess, that do that have a job coach with the participant.
I've heard of this.
Yes.
24/7 while the participant is working.
That's not doable either.
And that's not doable, and it's hurting us, our small agency,
Yeah.
because they think that this is actually what happens, and it's not the case with us. We're there at the beginning, first day, second day,
Yeah.
to make sure that they know their rounds and what they actually got to do. But once they get the hang of things, which is within the first 3 days, we are there once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, or
we
give them a
communicate via
call.
email, call, text.
We
Are you okay? Do you need
Contact the
anything? Yeah.
supervisor to make
Exactly.
sure that they're doing okay, and if there's anything that we have to address, we
Mhm.
address it. But we're not there constantly with them, because how good is that to the participant how are they going to feel independent when they have somebody there with
And the
them?
business as well. They don't want a job coach just sitting there doing nothing on
No.
their phone. What does a job coach do? The job coach is there just to make sure
Yeah.
the participant is doing their job. But once the participant is doing their job, the job coach has to back off.
Mhm.
And then what is a person doing there physically? So the employer does not want that.
Mhm.
And that's one of the stigmas that they have. If I hire this individual, are you going to be coming in? And we tell them, no, once you hire the individual should be well trained.
Mhm.
And if they're not,
And
we'll
able
be
to.
able. And they have to perform that duty to a T for the
Okay.
employer to understand.
So let's talk about the service that you offer. These young people, they come to you at what age? Teenagers?
Yeah.
They're still in high school?
15,
Oh,
16.
really?
Well, we've had them 15, 16
we've
in high
had-
school.
yeah.
Juniors in high school, sometimes up to sophomore, but mostly juniors and seniors in high school. Yes.
And who pays for this?
VR. VR has a service.
VR,
as well. Yeah,
okay.
VR.
Vocational rehab.
Yeah, vocational rehab. Thanks to them, they've been awesome to us. They're the ones who give us the referrals. They're amazing. They do great work for the state of Florida, and they're the ones, when a client comes to them, they basically say to the families, come to the VR and say, we have a son, a daughter who's in high school, who has disabilities. VR does assessments. They do an evaluation, and they figure out where the son or daughter wants to go. To what level? Is it employment or training? If they see that the individual is still in high school and they need more training, that's when the WBLE comes in. They send us the referral. We do an assessment. We do an intake. We sit with that client. We see where they want to go, and then we start the training with that client. Whether it's at a business or at a facility, it all depends on where the client is at the same time.
And how old is your oldest client?
65,
65, right?
and
Yeah.
Actually,
really?
we had one that
70.
was
No, 74.
Oh yeah.
But they've been with you since they were.
No.
No,
not
no. Oh, you mean as
necessarily.
far as with us? I thought you
yeah.
said in age.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I thought you said in age.
Well,
You know, no, like how old is your oldest client? Like that you're working with to get
that we're
employed?
working with
Oh, okay.
a year, maybe a year and a half.
A year.
No, the age.
Oh, age.
Age 74.
74.
Was the oldest individual that we
yeah.
helped.
From 15
Yeah.
to 74. Now, we service 18 through 64, but when they do WBLEs, they go younger because we're serviced to do WBLEs, which is work-based learning experience for teenagers, for younger individuals, teenagers, to get the experience, and then from there they go to OJT, which is on-the-job training.
And how long is somebody with you before they're expected to be looking for work?
Well, that all depends on how long, if they have a WLE or an OJT, depending on the service that they have.
Up to 3 months.
Yeah.
It could be up to 3 to 4 months, and then we'll analyze them to see if they need more or if they're ready. If they have a WBLE, they'll start. We'll usually do 2 to 3 months just to see. We'll place them somewhere. We'll see with the supervisor, with the store, what a department, how they're doing. We ask the family, because we have communication. We make sure that we communicate with the employer, with the family, and of course, the participant. We have to make sure that everybody is in the same page, on the same page.
Yeah.
And we see the progress. If the participant is ready, they'll give us a thumbs up. The family says they're ready.
They give it or you give them the thumbs up?
The participant has to be ready. We can't control how the participant is while they're training. So the participant has to tell us, I'm ready, Robert, Jessica, or whoever the job coach is. Once the participant tells us that, we'll go to the employer, because the participant's always first. We don't work around the participant. The participant's always number one that we have to go to. Make sure he or she is ready to go to the next level. Now, with that said, we got to go to the employer, make sure the employer says, yeah, he or she's ready. I think they're ready to go from this part to the next part, which is from a WBLE to an OJT. Now, if the employer says they're not ready, we've had a couple of them that says, no, they're not ready. They're still not doing this. They're not doing that. Then we go back to the participant says, I think that, we need a little bit more training. I know you think you're ready, but the employer says you're not.
Based on that feedback.
Based on that feedback, we'll do an assessment and we'll see where we go from there. But most of the time, we don't get a positive feedback from the employer. We keep the participant at our service of WBLE just to gain a little bit more experience, because the participant can say, we're ready. I'm ready, of course, because they know that they just want to do something else, but we want to make sure that everyone is on the same page as far as the participant for he or she's training for their best.
But are there certain milestones you're looking for?
There's benchmarks. We work by
okay.
benchmarks. Yes,
Okay,
of
tell me
course.
about
There's 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120 days. So within those benchmarks, we always assess. Okay, where are you? Are you okay? How you doing? 60 days. How you doing? We always go to the supervisor. During all these benchmarks, we're in constant communication with the employer, with the participant, and with the family. Because the family wants to hear from us all the time, because they're minors. And they want to know how he or she's doing, right? Because the employer is not going to call a family member and say, hi, Jim's doing okay, he's doing bad. They're going to call us as job coaches. So we have to communicate to 3 different individuals: family, employer, and then, of course, the participant. Not in that order. During these benchmarks, we'll know what the participant can and cannot do. Sometimes the participant can't go from this position to this position. They have to stay here because of their limitations. Some of these individuals have certain limitations that they can't go, above and beyond. They can't go to a different position. So we keep them there. We assess it. We talk amongst ourselves, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do next. But it's usually by benchmarks: 30, 60, 90, 120, right? Once we get to the last benchmarks, we'll all sit down together and, finalize, is this individual ready for the next step, which would be an OJT, or do we keep them in a WBLE? And then we'll make the decision at that time.
And the OJT, WBLE, those are all terms from VR, or that's like internal?
It's a VR term. It's basically work-based learning experience, which is work-based. You're working while you're learning at the same time. And then, of course, OJT is on-the-job training.
Of course.
Yeah. So we always, when we say OJT, we kind of let people know what that means, because it could be anything. OJT could stand for anything, right? So we always tell them on-the-job training. So on-the-job training is a little bit more advanced as a WBLE.
Okay. Now I'm curious your thoughts on this. I talked to this one young man. He had a bachelor's from FIU, in graphic arts, and
Mhm.
he's having a hard time finding work. And one of the reasons is that if you looked at him, it wasn't really clear he had autism.
Exactly.
He was very reserved, so he could come across as just like being like not a nice person, let's say.
Mhm.
And he wouldn't tell people he was autistic, which I thought like, why wouldn't you do that? But he wouldn't do it. And I thought that if you did let people know that you're autistic, they would then be more understanding of why you are the way you are, and you might get more work. So I'm curious, like, what is your point of view on letting the employers know, look, this person has this ability. He is a very nice person, just a little bit reserved because of, he's got autism or whatever it may be. How do you guys view that, and how do you handle that?
Yeah. To us, it's obviously the participant does not have to let anybody know that they have a disability. It's their right.
It's up to the participant.
It's totally up to them. But we do encourage them to let employers and whoever they're dealing with, be a professional or not, the fact that they have a disability, because that'll eliminate the guessing as to why is this guy not talking to me, or why is he so serious, or standoffish, antisocial. That's usually what we get. But we do have individuals that don't.
They prefer not to disclose.
They prefer not to disclose their disability,
and that's totally fine.
And to them, they're normal, and which they are. It's just that they act and see things a little different. Mm-hmm. But we, once we see a pattern and things not going the right way, mm-hmm. we do intervene, and we do let them know. Listen, we have to take a different approach to this, because it's not working out, and we have to let employers know. Because a lot of these individuals are very, they're very capable of doing a lot of things. So we're just here to support them in the background. Mm-hmm. But when we see that they're going out there and they're trying to do these things on their own, and they're following up with us, or we're following up with employers in certain interviews, or certain positions that they're applying to, and we don't get good feedback or any hiring, which is the goal.
Sometimes it takes a little longer.
Yeah.
And then we want to know why.
Yeah,
why is it taking longer? We intervene. We help them. It depends on the service that they're getting. So if they're getting employment services, right? If they're just pretty much on their own and they don't really want our help, like to intervene, a lot of mm-hmm. individuals want to do things on their own, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. We're there as a support, right? Like a security we have clients that do not want our help. I'm good. I got this. Mm-hmm. And we always tell them, I understand, but we're here, mm-hmm. and we continue to support them. And when they're not getting jobs, then we intervene. And I always say, can I meet with you? Can I buy you some coffee? Can I have a cup of coffee with you? Just sit down and have a conversation with you. And they say yes. And we talk to them. We're like, what's going on? Why do you think you're not getting a job? And then they tell me, I get their feedback, mm-hmm. and I say, as a job coach, maybe if I do this, if you do that, if you do this, and then they're like, you know what, that might work. And then sometimes they do. And then sometimes they'll be like, you know what? I need some help. Mm-hmm. I got to work. I got to pay my bills. Mm-hmm. I got student loans, and I got to pay my car note, and I can't. Mm-hmm. I got to help my mother. She's sick. I need your help. And that's when we intervene.
We let them know this person has a disability, and,
yeah.
Once we intervene, then
talk to the employer, mm-hmm. and set up everything. And then it gets a little bit more.
It gets a little easier.
Now, you guys had mentioned, some real world barriers, and one being transportation. Let's talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's a struggle. Miami-Dade, Broward, they have their own transportation, but sometimes for people with disabilities, it's just a nightmare.
In Miami-Dade, it's STS.
STS, and then you got, of course, Metro Mover, etc. You have different bus routes, but it's mainly STS. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to talk bad about STS, but sometimes STS, when you have individuals that work and they have to be to work at 9 o'clock, STS will get them there 9:30, 10 o'clock. That's totally unacceptable.
Yeah.
Totally unacceptable, because these are individuals that are working. And what is an employer going to do? Right. They have STS, but so the transportation thing has been a nightmare. So we want to do our own transportation so we can assure that clients, and not only for our clients, but for any person with disabilities that needs to get to work, we will be able to get them to work on time. No excuses. We will be able to get them to work on time, because that has been the biggest challenge that assisted employment services has had to face. Transportation. How many individuals have had jobs, have lost their jobs because they didn't get to work on time, has lost an interview because they couldn't get to interview on time, mm-hmm. has lost an opportunity at a job fair, mm-hmm. because they couldn't get there. you know, they don't want us transporting them. If it was me, I would pack my car with everybody and take them, but we can't do that because our insurances, VR doesn't want that as well. So that's been a barrier. If we were able to get some transportation somehow in place, that can at least ease that stigma of getting them to work. That's been a nightmare.
Yeah, you know, and I don't blame STS because their funding is what it is.
Exactly.
If you're underfunded,
they can only
you make
do
with what you have.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're
So
right.
I think that they're good people.
They're very good.
It's a great resource, and even some individuals that come to us don't even know about STS.
They don't even know about STS.
And we actually help them get STS because it's great, especially for those parents that work and do this and do that, and they also have to take their kids here and there. You know, it alleviates that part of having to take their kids somewhere when they have to trust that they're on STS, and
of course,
you know, nothing's going to happen to them.
The drivers are great. They're very courteous. They're very passionate.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they're underfunded and they're overserviced. There's a lot of individuals that use them throughout Miami-Dade, from Florida City to Miami Gardens. And, you know, they have a lot of drivers and they're great. But sometimes when, you know, they always tell the participant to tell us that they're going to work, and we'll try to get them there. And they try, but sometimes it just doesn't work. And if I had a nickel for each individual that gets to work late.
We also have tried this freebie. I'm sure you've seen them around.
Freebie
with a V.
No.
Yeah,
no?
You haven't seen them?
Maybe I have. I just don't know.
They're Teslas. And
they're
they say
electric
on the
cars,
side. They're electric cars.
I haven't seen that. No.
It's free transportation, but it's within the Pinecrest.
Coral Gables, Pinecrest, Key Biscayne.
Okay. Like a pilot program, I guess.
They've been around for 2 years?
Yeah.
Right?
2 to 3 years they've been around.
But they're not in Cutler Bay. They're not in Homestead. They're not in Carroll City.
It's just an app. You download the app on your phone, and obviously those, based on your location, they'll see if they're able to take you from where you at to where you want to go.
I've seen the cars, by the way.
Yeah.
Now
they got the big dome on top.
I don't know.
Or maybe that's Waymo.
It's a blue freebie. It says it on the
It says freebie. Trust me, if you Google, you'll see most of the cars are Teslas. They're electric cars.
Yeah.
It's great, but they're just not everywhere.
But it's very limited. You know, like you can't go, if you're in Cutler Bay, it won't take you to Homestead.
It won't take you around Cutler Bay. So if you have a job, if you're an individual participant who lives in Kendall, and your job is in Miami Gardens, it won't work.
Yeah.
You would need STS.
Or a certain part of Kendall, they just won't go.
Right, exactly. They don't fall away from and we've tried them, and they're great for what they do.
There's a lot of resources. I'm not going to lie. There's things that could be done, but transportation for them to, you know, when you are dealing with work, you have to be on time.
Yes.
Because that kind of looks bad if you start being 5-10 minutes
bad.
late.
Because if you're trying to run a business, you need people on time. So I understand the employer also.
Yeah.
Exactly. Going back to liability, that's a liability for an employer.
Yeah.
Sometimes they have a shift. They have to be there at 3:00. They're going to take the position of another person who's leaving. If they're not there early or at 3:00, that person has to go into overtime or overpaid.
And maybe they can't, and they got to go home for whatever reason.
So
their kids are getting out of school.
That's another form of liability. So with if we were to get these vans that we want to get, that will what is the term? That will eliminate a lot of that.
Alleviate.
Yes. Alleviate. Yeah. Soften the blow, as they say, soften the blow. So,
you know, and to put things in perspective, nationally, 1 in 4 Americans lives with a disability. So if you bring that to Miami-Dade County, about 3 million people, that's hundreds of thousands of people that need the STS services.
Absolutely.
And like, I had a lady on the podcast, she came in a wheelchair. So when I get here, she's already here. And I got here early. And I'm like, but the podcast is not till 11. Oh, I've been here since 9:45 because that's when they dropped me off.
Yep.
So it's not just that sometimes they get here late. Sometimes they have to get there super early, and maybe the store is not open. And
happened this morning. We had an individual be at a job interview. The interview was at 10. Individual got there 8:30. And I'm like, what do you do? He goes,
and you can't just drop them on the corner. Hey, you're on your own.
Yeah, STS, of course. And what I tell the participant, just go on your phone, hang in there. And I kept calling the participant every 10 minutes. Are you okay? Is everything? You have water? Are you in a safe place? Because I got worried he got there too early.
And what if it's raining? Who knows?
Exactly. And I don't want him to feel bad. I don't want him to leave, you know. And then now, you know, he's a champion and he stood his ground.
That's good.
That was good.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about some of the partnerships that you have. And I'll just read off the list I got from your website. Maybe there's more. Okay. So you got You're out working with Burlington, TJ Maxx, Sandal Factory, Sunset Grill, Amari K Resort, Pelican Harbor, Busy Bee Car Wash, ADE Culinary Program. Tell me about ADE because you mentioned them.
Association for the Developmental of the Exceptional. It's a very long name.
Yeah.
Very good organization. I worked there many years ago. They're doing a culinary program now.
Yes.
I actually started that culinary program when I worked there.
Okay.
Didn't really want to say that, but I did. It was the starting point of that program. But that was many moons ago. About a couple of years ago, I got an email from Tanya Robertson. She's the head of the culinary program, asking me if I had any individuals that wanted to do the program. I said, what is this? And when she told me what it was, she doesn't even know. She probably doesn't know now. But I told her, yeah, that's a great program you got there. It's a good thing that you got there. Elena Del Monte, she's the person who taught me a lot of the things that I know now. God bless her. The program is amazing. It teaches individuals with disabilities how to cook, how to bake. They got chefs, they got cooks that are there. It's in a facility, a brand new facility that they opened up. And it's just—
Where's it located?
Miami. I don't know the address right
Okay.
now off the top of my head. I can send it to you, but it's local Miami, off of North Miami Avenue. I believe that's where AD is. I think the program's in Doral. My apologies.
Okay.
But it's very stationary. It's a new building. They got chefs, cooks, they got staffs all around.
That's nice.
It's 3 days a week, Monday through Thursday. They pay for the STS. They make sure that the individuals are there.
I thought STS was free to.
No,
No.
STS is
Oh,
not.
right. There's a nominal fee.
Yeah.
$350.
$3.50 or $3.
But there is a fee. You're right.
Yeah, they have
for
to
each
pay.
trip.
But it's cheap. It's very.
It's
doable.
less than an Uber.
It's very
affordable.
less.
A lot.
It's very
Yes.
affordable.
Yes.
Kudos to them because they do make it affordable. But they ADE gives them vouchers to get to and from. They give them uniforms. They cook for commissioners. They cook for the mayor at times. Whenever they come, some of the school board members go there and the hack. When I did the program back in the day, our individuals cooked for the homeless, and the school board was right around the corner. They would come. The program has gotten bigger and better thanks to Elena Del Monte. She put it on the map, and sometimes we send participants there that are not ready to work. They don't want to work right now. They need a little training. We send them there. We tell them, okay, we have this here for you. So some of these partnerships that we've created with Miami-Dade and these individuals, sometimes they're not ready to work, and we have other options for now.
For those individuals, as you've mentioned, that might not be so per se workable. This is an option for them to learn and to do something different, and that this gives them a purpose.
Exactly. They don't want to work right now. They can't work right now for many reasons. So we don't just throw them away. We don't put them to the side. We don't put them on the back burner. We try to partner with some of these agencies. I'm trying to do something with Project SOAR. I don't know if you heard of them, Miami Beach, right? Carmen, I just spoke to her. Really nice lady. We're trying to work with them. We want to have options for these individuals. We just don't want to, because they come to us and they come with hope and expectation of something. So I don't want to tell an individual participant, oh, you can't work. I'm sorry, we can't do nothing for you. I don't want to say that. So partnering up with these other businesses that have other options would be good. And then who knows, once they're done with ADE, they can call us, or I can call them, and we'll see if they're ready to work. And if they're ready to work, then we can go that avenue. So that's where that comes from.
Now, these employers, these are big names like Burlington, TJ Maxx. Have you had success with mom and pops?
Well, some
but
mom and pops.
Very, very little. I'm not gonna say Shell World, and Key Largo, mom and pop. Some of them have been successful. Sunset Grill. Yes, I think there's a Sunset Grill down in Key Largo.
Right there.
It's a small company, a small restaurant,
Okay.
but it's very big in volume. When you're going down to Key West, it's right there off of Marathon, so it gains a big business. It's just one restaurant; it's not a chain, and they have OJT.
We also worked with a local liquor store.
Color Bay Liquors.
Color Bay.
Color Ridge, I think. Color Bay Liquors right down Color.
We're very thankful for the
we're very
opportunity
thankful to them.
they gave us.
Opportunities there.
We do work with some local employers.
We would prefer to look to work
actually
for
that we would
mom and
prefer
pops,
that. Yeah.
How would that outreach look like? Like what would be like, because I think that there's a lot of mom and pops. Like I consider this newspaper a mom and pop.
Of course.
Yes.
And they have neurodivergent people working here, and it's completely changed the culture, and they would hire them again.
No.
That's
So
good.
it's been very successful.
Mm-hmm.
But how would this outreach look like to get the attention of these small mom and pops?
They need to. They have to know what we do.
Yeah.
Again, awareness. This what we're doing here
yeah.
with this platform you're giving us.
It
reaches
ideal,
them.
yeah.
This is amazing. Thanks to you, Victor. Because if any small business that hears this, all they have to do is reach out to us and let us know we're here. We're open for business. We want individuals, and that's it. And Jessica and myself will put everything.
Yeah,
in place.
Robert usually is the one that knocks on doors, like I say, and he explains what we do and the services that we have, and that's how we establish a relationship, or we create or start getting some information out there. And if it's not them, they'll refer us to another company. I'm not hiring right now, or I don't have space for anybody right now, but go reach out to this other employer, they might be hiring. And that's how
the big
we reach
businesses
out.
are hard, because if you walk into a Target and ask a manager to hire an individual with disabilities, they're going to tell you got to go to corporate.
Yeah, it's not even their call.
It's not even their call. So now we have to put that in place. We have to send corporate an email, and corporate has to get back to us. It may take weeks. They may need even get back to us. So it's a gamble. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Sometimes, like Burlington, they've been very nice to us. They've been very good. They have the PASS program, or had the PASS program.
What, PASS?
PASS, yeah, I don't even know what it stands for. We're not the PASS program, but I guess it had to do with high schoolers going there with job coaches. But they eliminated that for the same reason. The job coaches were there. Burlington started getting scared and said, look, we can't have this. There's 2 or 3 job coaches here at the same time with 1 or 2 individuals. So they didn't have that. They eliminated that. We don't have that. We have an individual that's ready to work, capable of working, capable of being trained, knowing experience at times. We get them there. We talk to the manager. Everything is good. We leave. The manager has an issue. He calls us. We go, and they've been very well. They've been very good to us. Certain businesses, but certain businesses have closed the doors on us. Said, no, you got to go to corporate and et cetera.
Well, I have a funny story from Burlington.
Okay.
So I went to Burlington, and there was this young man there who's obviously neurodivergent, and he's super loud. But when you have an autistic kid, you can kind of like pinpoint who's autistic and who's just loud. And I was like, he's autistic. Well, I come back a couple weeks later, and I held the door for a lady walking in, and he yells out, "Oh, what a gentleman!" And it made me laugh because I already knew this kid.
You knew he was gonna.
And that's the cutest thing ever. Oh, what a gentleman!
That was nice. Yeah,
that's my funny story at Burlington. Okay, so listen, I got 5 last questions I want to ask you guys before we close it out. Jessica, what's one word that best describes the people you serve?
Excellent.
Okay. Robert, what belief about disability employment needs to disappear forever?
The stigma that they can't do the same thing that a person with disabilities can.
You know what though? And I'm going to have an attorney on in a couple weeks talking about this very thing. Is that people with neurodivergent kids, disabled people, they do have disabilities that they might need extra help. They can still do the jobs.
Absolutely.
But I think we should also recognize that they do have a disability and they do need extra help and more understanding from us.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah. Jessica, third question. What's the most underestimated skill your participants consistently bring to employers?
What's the most
underestimated skill?
Underestimated skills? Wow. They're very passionate about whatever thing they do, and whatever they're going to do, they're going to make sure that they do it right. And I think that's very underrated. And a lot of people don't.
It is. No cutting corners.
Yeah. They don't. A regular teenager or a regular person might cut a corner here and there because they know that they could get away with it. These individuals don't usually do that.
Nope.
They want to do things 100% correctly, and they're so passionate about what they do and the opportunities that they get. And it's very rewarding for us as a company to work with these individuals because of that.
And and with neurodivergent kids, young people, I've never had anybody be rude to me.
No,
They're
they're not.
People like us, rude all the time.
all the time.
Yeah.
But neurodivergent, I've never had. I mean, you might have some awkward interactions.
Of course.
Yes.
of
But
course.
rude,
They're
I've
very
never had anybody
respectful.
be rude to me who's
Mhm.
neurodivergent.
No.
100%.
Mm.
Yeah.
They have it's a gift to me. That's a gift.
An innocence.
An innocence.
That is
An
very
innocence
charming.
that
Yeah.
we don't, that we don't see a
And we
lot.
take for granted
Yeah.
that a person without disabilities takes for granted.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Robert, if you could put one message on a billboard on I-95, what would it say?
Please give a person with disabilities an opportunity.
Yeah. Just opportunity.
Yes.
Opportunity.
Not a favor.
That's it.
No.
Exactly.
Just an
An
opportunity.
opportunity. That's it.
Okay.
If it works out, perfect. If it doesn't,
Nothing lost
move on.
either.
Nothing
Nothing
lost.
lost.
Opportunity.
Yeah.
That's it.
Especially with all these programs that we have in place. I'm
Yeah.
sorry to
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
entertain. There's these programs that we have in place that just that opportunity could open up so many doors for that individual.
Yeah. And people don't realize because a lot of these kids, if they never find employment, it's a lifelong drag on the economy,
Yeah.
on their families. So these young people are 74 years old,
Mhm.
getting employed. It doesn't just change their trajectory.
You just got a
It
job,
changes-
by the way.
Awesome.
Yes. Last
It changes
weekend.
the whole family.
The whole family.
Because if
everybody.
mom or dad has to stay home to take care of the kids, then it's another person not employed.
It
Yeah.
changes lives, Victor. How many
Families.
lives?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Families.
Families.
The whole
Um,
family.
How many mothers? I know we're closing up, but how many mothers and fathers haven't called us crying, thank you,
Oh my God.
thanking us,
Yeah.
thank you. This individual has not worked ever. You've changed our lives. He's helping me now. I can get better insurance. I can stay home, or I can do this. I can do
Mhm.
that, and it's just so gratifying.
Well, listen, Michael Miller, the owner of the paper,
Mhm.
he hired an autistic young person, and
Oh.
the father called here weeping
Oh,
with gratitude.
wow.
And here's what's curious. Michael called before the dad called, weeping. Michael called him, and the dad thought, "You're firing my son?" He's like, "No, I'm here to tell you that he's doing awesome."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it
They're
went-
not used to
Yeah.
hearing that. From they're
Yes.
not. They're used to always the negative.
the bad
and
phone call.
The
Yeah.
bad phone call.
But no, that
Exactly.
he called, and dad's like, "You're gonna fire him already?" He's like, "No, I'm here to tell you that your son's doing awesome."
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So very a good success
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
Okay. So last question for both of you. Okay.
Oh God.
Finish the sentence. Success for the people you serve will be real when
They get a job.
When,
they get a job. Yeah.
They get a job.
The bottom line.
That's it. We don't. Our job is not met until their job is complete.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And
Awesome.
until they start receiving that paycheck and that independence.
Yeah. Once they start getting that paycheck and they call us and they say, "I got paid today. I can pay my insurance, or
Yeah.
I can go to see a concert
And-
on my own."
And not only this is not some for these individuals, it's not only so much about the money per se, but it's feeling part of the community and part of
Yes, you're
Yes.
contributing.
Contributing.
You're contributing.
Yeah, and not just staying
They've
home.
earned it. And I got it from my mom or dad.
Or the
They've
government.
earned it.
Or the government,
Or
yeah,
the
which
government.
is
That's-
benefits that they appreciate, but they also want to feel
Which
a regular, like a regular person.
we would have to come to another podcast. That's what Jessica does. One more thing. A lot of these individuals are receiving social
SSDI.
security. Yeah.
Yes.
SSI
there is
and
a-
SSDI. There's
yeah,
two
there's a-
types of benefits.
And there's a stigma that they cannot work
Yeah.
because they receive it. Jessica is a WIPA counselor, one of the only, there's probably 6 or 7 in the whole state of Florida. She happens to be one of them. She's a benefits counselor. So when she tells them, yes, you can work
Part-time.
part-time, stay
Up to
under
a certain amount.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
They're like, really, I can't. They go years, even the families, not knowing they can work
Yeah.
and to contribute, like you mentioned. And when Jessica does a BPQY and tells the family he or she can work, but they have to stay under the threshold, they're like, wow, I can go out there, I can do something, not just stay home.
Or prepare them to eventually be off those benefits. I mean,
Yes.
If they
That's-
can.
if they can, why
Wean 'em
not?
off 'em.
Why do you want to just live under a threshold when you could do more?
Yeah.
And that's what we want our
Trying
participants to do more.
yeah.
We don't want them to stay here. We want them to do more if they can.
Yeah. And you know what? I think that a lot of times, because we know stuff, we assume everybody knows
Everybody
it. No, they
knows it.
don't. A lot of the stuff is
Oh.
like secret society. Like, no, you're like,
we
what?
see that.
What?
We see that every
Every
year.
day,
I know
every
you
We've
do.
been
yes.
going to the fair where we actually met you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
This was our second year. Second or third?
I think a second.
Second year. We see that every year when we go there. We see how many
They walk up to us,
resources
yeah.
people don't know
they
about.
don't know about. They're like, oh my God, I can't
They
believe
can
you do
work?
this. They
What?
can work.
Yeah.
But I
They
make
don't
this
know that
much.
agencies like us
I know.
exist
Yeah.
either.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's
Yeah.
just
And thanks to you,
we're
for this
getting the word out there.
platform. Yeah, we can't.
But you know what? Before I was in this world, I didn't know about this either.
Exactly.
So
I know.
at some point, it's all new to you. But we just assume because we're in this, like we're in it for a long
Mhm,
time, that
mhm.
everybody else knows.
Everybody
No.
else. Yeah.
Secrets.
Yeah.
Secrets, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Awareness.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Jessica, Robert, this has been really awesome, eye-opening. All of your contact info will be in the show notes. So for parents or individuals who want to reach out to you guys, it's all going to be there. So let's turn to the camera and we'll sign off.
Yeah.
So this has been the Autism Podcast at Miami's Community Newspapers. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again next time.